we're super excited about where we are as a team right now. We brought in a class of 5 freshmen, so that's a little bit different this year, just trying to mesh well and get to know each other on and off the basketball court, because we relatively have a kind of a brand new team, especially with the loss of Carly and Savannah from last year. But I think we'll be a different team this year, a little bit more athletic, gained a little bit of size with some players that were sitting out. So, right now at this point, we're super excited about where we are, and cross our fingers we'll get to our first game on November 25th.
Thanks, Coach, and welcome in Alexis Houston, a senior forward for the Running Bulldogs. Great to have you, and hope you're doing well. If you can kind of give us the perspective of the student athlete, how preseason's been for you, and obviously all the differences, and what you and your team been working through to get ready for the season.
Yes, I kind of agree with what you've been saying. We are really young this year, as experience-wise. But the freshman class that she brought in, they came in, they're ready, prepared. They were very athletic this season. I'm excited.
Okay, we got a little background interference there, so we'll just take care of that. But at this time, we'll take questions for both Coach Simmons as well as Alexis Houston. Again, please enter your name in the chat. You want to talk to the Gardner-Webb women's basketball team, and we'll take those. First is from Jacob Connolly. So, Jacob, go ahead. Jacob, you might be on.
Can you hear me? There we go. Can you hear me? Alexis, I have a quick question for you. You said you had a lot of new faces on this team. Do you feel any extra pressure being a senior, having to step up in a leadership role this year?
I think Coach Alex has prepared me pretty well this year. Just talking me through in practices. I've been there with experience a little bit, but she's helped me out a lot, talking me through certain situations in practice and what it's going to be like in the games. And so I think I'm ready.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
And Alexis, we'll kind of continue with you for a little bit. What has been, what are some of the areas of the game that you personally are looking to improve on this season?
I think I relied a little bit too much on my mid-range last year, so I've been focusing trying to put the ball on the floor and go to the basket, and finishing well around the rim, as well as getting my three-point shot off pretty fast.
Well, thank you. Brendan Boylan has a question for both of you. Brendan, go ahead.
Hey, guys. Coach, we talked about this a little bit last week, but just again for both of you, with the season being cut short last season, what was the stress and maybe the frustrations there from a coaching staff? And then Alexis, in that locker room, what was it like to know you're there, you guys were maybe the hottest team in the Big South, and then all of a sudden the season's gone?
Well, I think for our staff, it was more so about our players and our team, just making sure that they were okay. We did feel like we were playing very well. I think we had won 8 of the last 10 games, or 8 of the last 9 games went into the tournament. And so, being at the tournament, preparing to play on our way to a practice to prepare for our next game the next day, and then to be told midway on the trip that, the whole thing's canceled, it was devastating. So I think our main thing was just to make sure that our team was okay. And also at the same time, continue to have the fire that we ended the season with last year.
Go ahead, Brendan.
And same question for you, Alexis. From the team standpoint and being a leader on that team, and knowing at least for some of your seniors they weren't going to be coming back, what was that like for the locker room? Just knowing that, like I said, maybe a really good opportunity to go and potentially win the whole thing was taken away from you. And as the senior leader this year, how do you kind of rally the troops from last year to go back into this year with the same goals and aspirations?
It was very frustrating last year just because you couldn't ask for how well the season was going, and many teams don't peak at the perfect time that we did. I feel that we were on it. We were ready to go. Everything was working really well. So it was really frustrating to have it taken away from us, especially when we were that close. And then with this season, I feel that I've put a big emphasis on, like, we just have to get things done because the season is shortened, as well as it is my senior year, and we had that opportunity taken away from us last year. So we don't want to take this season for granted.
Brennan, anything further?
I'm good. Thanks, guys.
All right. I have Evan Budvarich from Camel. He has a question for you, Coach Simmons.
Hey, Alex. I'm curious with this back-to-back scheduling, what you think about the biggest challenge and maybe what's the biggest attribute on your side of playing these teams back-to-back in conference?
I think there will be a bigger emphasis on scouting with the quick turnaround. That will probably be the biggest emphasis. We practice how we would like to play. And so fast-paced, practicing back-to-back days, practicing back-to-back mornings, we prepare for that every single day because of how we set up our schedule. So I think the biggest challenge will be, just scouting because it is a quick turnaround, less than 24 hours as far as playing the same team twice. Having to make sure that our team's focus is there, that carryover is there. All those things is going to be a little bit more important than it has been in the past, just because you're playing the same team on back-to-back days.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Evan. And Jacob Connolly has a follow-up for Alexis. Go ahead, Jacob.
I see your question in the I'm very excited. Just it is my last year, and how last year went with the season being cut short, I do believe that we had a good chance of winning the entire tournament. So I want to continue to push forward and winning a championship this year, because I think that the team that we have, we can do that.
Thank you. That's what I needed.
Thank you, Jacob. We're taking questions for Gardner-Webb head coach Alex Simmons, as well as senior forward Alexis Houston. Coach and Alexis, preseason poll prediction, Vernon Bulldogs pick 5th. Coach, I'll let you give your response and reaction to that, and then we'll get Alexis's perspective following that, if you could. So, Coach, please, reaction to the preseason poll.
With all due respect, we try not to put a lot of stock into those things. Nobody's here with us in practice every day. Nobody is, off the court with us every day. So, my initial thoughts is it kind of is what it is. We appreciate the respect, being one of the top 5 teams in the conference, but, we have to focus on us and continue to push forward.
And Alexis, your reaction?
Yeah, I'm just really focusing on us and not necessarily worrying about what everybody else is doing. Yes, there's a lot of respect putting us 5, but I'm just excited, and I know what this team is capable of. So we'll just have to see how the season goes.
Okay, thank you. Mike Ashley from Blue Ribbon has a question for you, Coach. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Mark. Thanks a lot for doing this. Coach, I'm up here in the metro area, so I was just wondering what you're expecting from Larissa Deans this year.
We are very excited for Larissa. Last year was a learning year for her. Obviously, due to NCAA rules, she could not compete, but every single day she's proven herself as that force that we need, that we were missing on our team from last year. I expect huge things from her. She's still learning, which, is something that I like. She wants to learn. She pushes hard. She's getting herself in great shape. So we're definitely expecting to see her make a huge contribution to our team on the court.
How did you come about getting her to your program?
Well, obviously she started her career at Charlotte and kind of knew that she she wanted to transfer. I'm not sure if she knew where, but having her having her mom here already, being a family-oriented person, that's kind of how it happened. My whole staff had seen her play throughout the AAU circuit. And so, as soon as we found out that she was wanting to transfer from Charlotte, we made our phone calls that we needed to make. And luckily she chose Gardner-Webb.
Thanks a lot. Have a good season.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And Jacob Connolly has a question for Coach Simmons. Go ahead, Jacob.
Coach, you mentioned that you were excited about a lot of the new faces you have with your program. Talk about some of those new faces that you expect contributions from and what they bring to the team and how they mesh with your returning players.
I honestly expect contribution from everybody. Specifically, probably Alasia Smith. She's one of our incoming freshmen. Super dynamic, very versatile in all positions and on both sides of the ball. Another one of our freshmen that we have who's also local is Michaela. She's a knockdown 3-point shooter. Gets her shot off as quick as I've seen anybody. And she's consistent, high percentage when it comes to shooting. So I think our freshman class will be huge for us. Whether it's coming off the bench, whether it's starting, we haven't really defined those roles quite yet, but I think all 5 of them will be huge for our program.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. And Coach and Alexis, as we wrap up, what can you tell us of your non-conference schedule of the season?
Simply put, our non-conference schedule is pretty tough. We open up at home against Elon on November 25th, and then we head to Auburn and kind of have a tough couple of weeks playing Auburn, playing Virginia Tech, playing Richmond, and playing Vanderbilt. So to be quite honest, I wouldn't really want it any other way. That's what you play basketball for, is to compete, and we want to compete at the highest level.
Well, Coach, Alexis, that's all the time we have for you this morning. We really appreciate you joining us today. We wish you all the best. Stay safe, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to transition now to the men's side with head coach Tim Kraft and preseason all-conference member Jaheen Cornwall. Coach Jaheen, good morning. I hope you can see and hear us okay.
Morning. Good morning.
All right, Coach Kraft, hello. You are now beginning year 8. If you can kind of open up with a statement and some remarks on how the preseason preparations has gone, and any other items that you would like to share, then we'll hear from Jaheen with the same comments.
Yeah, it's been a wild off season, like everybody's experienced, just in terms of life, and that impacts every area of your life, certainly your job, and college athletics is certainly everything that we do is you had to kind of evaluate how you do it, and it's been again a wild and crazy different off season. But it's gone very well for us here. As it relates to coronavirus and staying healthy and being able to be pretty consistent with our practices, our preseason. It's been good. I love our team. We've got a great group of young men that just have been, so fun to be around, and a lot of fun to coach every day. So I'm excited about our team. And, I think we got to be ready for anything this year. And, it's kind of just take it one day at a time and try to win the day and get better each and every day, and every opportunity you have to hit the court, try to get better. And that's the mentality we've been trying to take here with this group. And we're excited about getting started.
Thank you, Coach. And Jaheen, will kind of ask similar question for you, just from your student-athlete perspective on getting ready for the season in the unique manner that you have to, as well as the reaction to being selected to the preseason all-conference team. Congratulations on that, too.
Thank you. I think getting ready for the season has been a privilege, honestly. With coronavirus, back at home for me, it was kind of rough. They took down courts, closed gyms, so I had to find a way to get better every day. And then when I got up here, I just locked myself in my room, locked myself in the gym, and just started working early, preparing to lead these guys, these young group of guys, these competitors, you know, what we want as a Big South championship.
All right. Thank you, Jaheen. We'll go ahead and start taking questions for both Coach Kraft as well as Jaheen Cornwall. To do so, just please enter your name to the chat, and we'll take them as they come in. And the first question is from Marty Gordon of the Radford News Messenger. Go ahead, Marty.
Coach Kraft, we've seen it, that trying to put together the schedule, especially outside the conference, has been difficult. But, man, you've got an out-of-conference schedule that probably no one else would want to have. I mean, especially when you got the Duke coming up to open the season. I mean, what's your feelings about this out-of-conference schedule and how that's going to help or hurt your team?
Well, it's not ideal in terms of the spacing and of the games and kind of when you could play them and where they are. But it was so difficult as you to the scramble of the non-conference schedule when the NCAA shortened the season by 2 weeks, and you're losing games, you're having games canceled. We lost a multiple team event. And you're just trying to figure it out. And, the Florida State, so we open up the season, our first 5 days, we're at Duke. We have a day to travel, Thanksgiving Day, to travel down to Tallahassee, which is my hometown, to Florida State, and 1 day to prepare for them, play Florida State on that Friday after Thanksgiving. And then we have another day to travel to University of Georgia and practice and prepare, and then we play University of Georgia on Sunday. So it's 3 road games in 5 days against BCS opponents. Not necessarily the way that I would have loved to space it out, but it's just kind of the way it ended up. We had Florida State and Georgia already on the schedule. Those were the dates that we had previously contracted. We had Duke originally on November 13th, and so we were hoping to reschedule that game, and that was the day that it could work for both of us. And I know our players are excited about it. Your players, they want to play against the best in the country, and that's every player. Every good player wants to do that. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing in the first 5 days. And so they're excited about it. I'm excited to throw them out there and see how we do. Certainly on November 29th, when we're driving back from Athens to Boiling Springs, we'll know a lot more about our team. We'll probably be a little worn out. We'll be ready for an off day on Monday. And then get ready to go back at it and practice to prepare for Campbell, who we're going to play there that weekend. But that's just kind of the way it ended up and the way that we were able to work it out. And then the rest of our schedule, we're at Pitt later on, and then we have VMI as well. So we're limited to 5 games because we couldn't get into a multiple team event, which would have given us 2 more. Because our multiple team event was canceled. So, all those games are going to be difficult. Certainly those first 3 in 5 days will be, a great experience for our team, and we'll know a lot more about them. And I think in terms of helping or hurting us, it's just we're going to play the games, and we're going to compete to win the games. And then we're going to try to learn from the things we did well and the things we did poorly, and then move on from there.
Also, Coach, how has this COVID-19 affected your program, your players, and even you personally?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is just, is the lack of, just in terms of our program, the hardest thing has just been the lack of ability to plan, and just the uncertainty in terms of, when we're going to start school, when we're going to have our guys there for the summer, when the season will start, and then working on your schedule, and just kind of that you've just got to be, we've had to just, and like everybody, just really flexible, able to kind of shift and adapt quickly. The thing we've talked about with our guys since they got to campus is this year is about adapt, adapt, embrace, and excel. Adapt to whatever the day throws our way, embrace it, even if it's different and difficult, and then find a way to excel in the middle of it. And that's kind of the mentality we've tried to take. Personally, for it's, I haven't had any serious loss in my family because of it. I know that's happened all around the country. So, we've been blessed with my family, our players. We've had a couple players that have lost grandparents in this, during this pandemic from coronavirus. In terms of our team, we've only had one guy that's gotten the virus. So it's been, there's probably not many programs in the country that could say that, but we had one guy that got it back in Florida when he was at home. And then the rest of our team, since we've been here in the fall, we've been testing, we've had no one, get the virus yet. So we've been very blessed and fortunate, and credit to our players just in terms of the way that they've attacked the protocols. And we've tried to be relentless with, doing everything we can to try to stay healthy so we can stay on the court and keep practicing and keep getting better.
Thanks, Marty. Coach, the next couple questions for you. Next one is from Jason Brown, Spectrum News, and then Brendan Boylan has a question for Jaheen. So we'll go with Jason first. Go ahead, Jason.
Thanks, Mark. Coach, it's good to see you again. And first off, let me express my congratulations that you only had one player test positive for COVID-19, but also my condolences to those players who have lost loved ones because of this virus. Did you have any players express concerns about playing, maybe thinking about opting out when obviously the initial spread hit? And of course, there's a lot of medical experts talking about another wave coming through here in the winter as the weather turns colder.
That's a good question, Jason. And I appreciate your condolences there, and congratulations. That's a good question. None of our players talked to me specifically about the thought of opting out, or that they were seriously considering that. We certainly had some parents that were cautious and a little nervous about sending their kids back to school. We certainly, had some conversations with different parents just about, the things that we were doing to try to ensure the safety and health of our team and our players, which you would expect. But I really didn't have anybody that seriously, talked to me about wanting to opt out, and whether or not that was on their mind, it certainly could have been. It certainly could have been. I actually talked to Jaheen a little bit about just, hey man, this is going to be a different year at one point with him. And I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how many games we're going to play. I don't know. And for this to be your senior year, I feel bad for you, that this potentially is your senior year. And, the only thing I ever got from our guys is that they just were ready to play and wanted to play. But I'm sure there's some concerns there that maybe weren't necessarily voiced, but nobody seriously talked to me about opting out. I think once the NCAA now has set, talked about, hey, everybody's going to get the year back, and this season's not going to count against anyone's eligibility. That certainly eases everybody's mind that, like for Jaheen Cornwall, let's say we only play, we got 25 games scheduled, but for some reason we're only able to play 10. It's not his final season in college basketball. He's able to go do it again. So I think that certainly relieves some pressure off of that.
Thanks, Coach. And then just one quick actual basketball question. Only 3 starters returning. The experience you have on this squad, how comfortable are you with it? Because I know that one of the keys for your team's success in the past has been you've had veterans up and down the lineup.
Yeah, you're right, Jason. We this is the youngest team we've ever had, most inexperienced team we've ever had. You know, we have always had guys that are returning, that have had experience, that are maybe stepping into a little bit of a different role, but you feel really comfortable in their ability to be able to do that. So to say that I'm comfortable with the inexperience on our roster, I wouldn't say that. I don't think any coach is ever comfortable, you know, with inexperience. But I'm very optimistic and excited about the group. You know, obviously we got the guy in the screen there, Jaheen Cornwall, is a senior. I mean, he's as good a guy to have as if you're only going to have one senior. I mean, I can't think of a better one to have because he's been a kind of a leader. I mean, he's really been a leader since his freshman year. He's just got that in his DNA. He's an unselfish human being. He's an unselfish teammate. And he's a really good player. And he's going to have the ball in his hands as a point guard a lot. So I think that brings some comfort because there's not much that guy hasn't seen. You know, in his first 3 years with us. But then other than that, you said it, I mean, other than Jaheen, we got two other players that have played in conference games, Kareem Reed and Ludovic Dufial. Those are the only two guys that have played in any conference games other than Jaheen. So three guys. So it's again, inexperienced, but there's a fresh excitement in our locker room. I think our talent level is very, very good. And I think our mindset is very good. And we've got a hungry group. We've got a group that's really eager to learn. We've got a group that's coachable. They get along really well with each other. And so I think that gives us a chance to just keep getting better, you know, and that once we hit February, I think we got a chance to be a really good basketball team.
Thank you, Jason. Our last question is actually for Jaheen. Brendan Boylan, go ahead.
Hey, Jaheen. Coach just talked about how inexperienced this group is and how you've been a leader on the floor essentially your entire time at Gardner-Webb. Is there a sense of added pressure this season having to be that leader of a young group, especially considering the different things you've seen early on in your career?
It definitely is a sense of pressure because, you know, you got to get these young guys, you know, on the same page and let them know that the college experience is, you know, it's nothing light. It's an everyday job. You know, you have to buy into getting better. You have to buy into what we're doing here in our program. And just them coming straight out of high school, you know, sometimes it takes guys, you know, a little longer, and that's fine. But I think you have to explain to them that, you know, you have to keep striving to become your better self and just keep, you know, pushing on. Keep your focus. Be confident. You know, no matter who we out there playing against, just being vocal with them. You know, explaining to them that when things are going wrong, just embracing, you know, that transition and, you know, make it better.
Thanks, Jaheen.
All right, we got time for one quick one from Mike Ashley for Coach Kraft. Go ahead, Mike, real quick.
Hey, Tim. Just wondering what you've seen from Falco so far. You know, he's a key piece coming in for you, I know.
Yeah, Mike, appreciate that. We've got 9 new guys, 7 freshmen, and Falco's a junior college transfer. I would say, you know, all of them have been impressive in some way. I think every one of those 9 guys can contribute to the success of our team this season and beyond. Falco has probably been the most consistent of all of those guys. He's probably been the most consistent in terms of you know, his production and in practice every day. You know, the thing that gives him a chance is that he's got a great motor and he's really tough. And so, like, every day he comes in and he's going at 100%, and he doesn't get tired really, as he doesn't fatigue. So that kind of gives him, you know, an advantage right off the bat. And then he's been very coachable, and he's really learning, and he's getting better every day. But we're expecting him to really be a big part of what we do this year for sure.
Thanks, Tim. Have a great season.
Thank you.
All right, Coach Jaheen, we appreciate you joining us. That's all the time we have for you. But best of luck this year. Stay safe, and we'll hope to see you soon.